Hello and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we check out the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Well, that's my little Christmas present to all the other fandoms. Well, it is Christmas after all, and it's still time to check out some of the other awesome stories that are out there. And, well, I found one that could actually make sense given its continuity. Yep, that's right, folks. It's time for another round of B5. I mean, have I mentioned I love the show yet? Yes! Too bad, I'm going to say it again. I love this show. So, without further ado, here's a lovely Babylon 5 Christmas fic. Christmas 2259 by Gabrielle. Ahem. Christmas Eve 2259. Only chapter. John laughed and shook his head against the offer of another drink. No, thank you. I don't want to spend a Christmas day with a hangover. Thanks all the same. Captain, you're not leaving this early, are you? It's getting to the full swing now. Susan took another glass, while seizing John's another arm. After all that's happened, Susan, I was lucky to drag myself here at all. John scowled in memory. Not in the party mood? Susan looked concerned. No. The protest came rather rushed. John shook his head. I'm just exhausted. It's nice to see the garden for the correct height, though, let me tell you. At least he forgot about the apology, Susan pointed out. Who says Christmas wishes don't come true? Sean gave her a one-armed hug. Good night, Susan. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Susan looked after him as he slipped away. The singing group from the dock workers started another set of cards. The notes seemed to wave around him, leading him away. Susan wished he'd stayed. John needed to lighten up and have more fun often. You better watch that sauce, Ivanova. I don't want to have to yank you out from under the bushes in the morning. Michael laid a friendly hand on her back. I'll have you know, Mr. Garibaldi, I never drink so much that I can't find my own way to my door. Let's just make sure you find your way inside your own door. John turned from the doorway. The sounds of revelry fading, but the music still strong. It had been fun, but he wanted to be alone. Holidays were so damn hard. 100 more things reminded him of Anna. They'd always been together for Christmas and New Year's, no matter where they were. The third Christmas after they were married, he had been afraid he had forgotten the rendezvous information in time, only to find her covered with ribbons and bows laying on his bed in his quarters. A few months after learning of her death, he found a present he planned to give her, wrapped and hidden away. He sat on his floor, held it, wept, got drunk, and finally threw it away, unopened. Lizzie had already called, fussing about him. You shouldn't be alone on Christmas, John. She wanted to come with the boys for the holidays, but had fallen through. I'll be all right, Lizzie. With so much happening, I won't even notice. He lied. A flash of color at the turn of the corridor broke through the melancholy. Is that Delenn? He wondered. What on earth was she doing there? The Minbari ambassador was leaning back against the side of the corridor, her eyes closed, her hands folded on her chest. She was standing there. A faint smile was on her serene face. She was listening to the singing. She probably doesn't want to intrude. John smiled. She looked all the world like a little kid hiding at the top of the stairs to peek at the grown-ups' party after having been banished to bed. Ambassador? He said softly. She jumped. Captain Sheridan. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. Can I help you? Her embarrassed flush was charming. Her hand touched her neck nervously. No, I was just listening. I was passing and I heard the singing, so I stopped to listen. She went to Bass. I hope you're not offended. No, of course not. John hoped his grin wasn't too foolish. How did you like it? The music? I liked it very much. Delenn regained her composure. The singers are mostly dock workers. They practiced for weeks. They've gotten really good. I tell you to go down and hear them, but the party's going strong and everyone's a bit to the wind by now. A bit to the wind? Delenn looked puzzled. Intoxicated. Oh, is this customary for a religious holiday? No, but Christmas has been celebrated as a secular holiday as well for thousands of years. In fact, it used to be traditional to have warmed wine for guests as a symbol of welcoming at Christmas. I've been told that Christmas is very important to your people. Yeah, it's a holiday for all our best qualities and sharing them with your loved ones. John felt rather than heard his voice trail off. Captain, are you all right? Delenn looked concerned. Yeah. It's just hard sometimes, with my family so far away. I miss them this time of year. John looked at her face, and suddenly wasn't as tired as he was a few minutes before. I was just on my way to my office to look down at the lights. They look very pretty from the window up there. Would you like to see them? She smiled. Yes, I would like that. They walked slowly together, comfortable friends. John felt again the rush of warm pleasure that her company brought him. Who would have thought it? His mind turned to puzzle over. She and I, friends. I was surprised. All the rest of them at Bari can't stand the sight of me. Though Lanier cut me a little slack. But Delenn, well, she was kind. When she heard about the court test, she came to see me. Star stuff? He shook his head in wonder. When that Mabari was killed, she did believe the worst of me. God, she was so brave to help me, to go help the Maracab. And stubborn. The image of meeting between them resurfaced his memory. She had been so resolute and so beautiful. John looked down at the woman beside him. Delenn met his gaze and smiled. It was that moment he realized how beautiful she was. Not just looks, no. That happened in the fresh air when she had walked in that black dress and apologized for being late. She'd taken his breath away then. No. When she touched his hand, his face, and told him not to look away. When he realized how beautiful she was, to him. And then afterwards with Sebastian. Stop wool gathering, John! When I was a kid, my dad was a diplomat, so we were traveling a lot. He began as he stepped onto the lift. She looked up at him, listening. Blue 4. So I got to see Christmas from all over the place. One year, Dad had to go to Mars Colony for a set of peace talks, and Lizzie, my sister, she was really little. Anyway, she figured out that Santa Claus couldn't find us because we were en route home for Christmas. Oh, do you know about Santa Claus? The good giver of gifts to children. He's associated with a sleigh and deer. She asked hesitantly. Yeah, that's right. The lift doors opened and they stepped out. We have a similar custom on Minbar. You do? We have more in common every time we talk to each other, it seems. So, we just got back, and while everybody else went to bed, I stayed up all night putting together a mouse village for Lizzie, so she would think Santa had come just for her. Sheridan smiled in memory. God, that thing took hours to put together. And I was just wondering what to do, so no light, so I wouldn't wake anybody. Every sound seemed 10 times louder. But it was cute, with little mouse homes and little chairs and a train. It was that train that took the longest. I was putting all the toy mice in place when I heard a noise out in the front of the house. And for a moment, just a moment, I thought it might be the real Santa Claus. What was it? Delenn asked, curious. I went to the window and peeked out from behind the edge of the drape. Standing in the yard in front of the house was an elk. That's a type of deer, only much bigger, with this large ruff of fur and big antlers. It stood, just in the moonlight, staring at the house. I felt like it really saw me. I couldn't move. I just stood there, staring at it. It was snowing, and it was so quiet. God, it was so beautiful. Never forgotten it. I like to think that Santa Claus visited me after all. But how's he did? Did your sister like the mouse village? She paused a bit over the unfamiliar phrase. Oh yes, he loved it. She still has the silly thing. She and the boys sit it up under the tree every year. He smiled fondly at the thought. Funny, he hadn't thought about that stories in years. Yet, while telling Delenn, it came warmly back, comforting him. Seeing the elk had been one of the most beautiful moments of his life. He turned the corner to his office and stopped short. John's jaw dropped. It again lay a small gasp of delight. His office had been decorated. A mad pack of Christmas elves have overrun my place, Sheridan remarked cheerfully, and I have a suspicion that one of their names is Susan, another is Michael, with a good dose of Stephen thrown in. Slags of Gary were thrown over his desk and windows, working with fairy lights. Ornaments hid in the green folds while silk ribbons made lazy trails through the brass. You know, I have no doubt that they would do that for him. God, I love the character interactions on this show. Good God, they even flocked the edges of the windows. Sheridan shook his head in amazement as he stepped further in. Unlit photos in the glass were on his desk, as well as a tray of cookies and a large card. John picked up the card. A large Santa dressed in green and white walked through the snow, surrounded by friendly polar bears. He opened it. It said, John Sheridan, it's Christmas Day. Go home and rest. It was signed by Susan, Mikan, Steven, and the rest of the CNC. John closed the card with a chuckle. 3 bottles were by the tray. One of mock cider, one of spiced wassail, just warm, in drink, and made no decisions required depth perception, the label warned, and a bottle of 20-year-old Irish whiskey. A small silver box of real chocolate in the shape of leaves was to the other side. The cookies were dark, with powdered sugar and lace designs on the top. Their spicy, dark smell rose pleasantly. Michael's handiwork, John knew. Garibaldi had made Susan a badge in the Star of David shapes, decorated with bright blue sugar crystals. A pound of real coffee with a big silk bow. John was so touched for a moment he couldn't speak. Perhaps they knew you'd be missing your family. Dylan's voice was soft. Yeah, I guess you're right. They're such good people. I don't know how I'm going to thank them. John looked over the gifts. Fingertips lightly touching one of the silk ribbons. Freeing the Earth from an evil dictator, stopping the universe's worst criminals. I think you know how. You may have thanked them already. How? By being their friend. Delenn reached down and touched his hand. You're a good friend, John. Is it so uncommon for that to be remembered? John looked at her gentle face and felt the warmth of her, and... No, not by friends like these. Taking her hand, he led her to the window. He was looking at the light to see if anyone was still standing. Where it is standing, John guided her to the sofa so they could look over the back. It was a little more comfortable, he supposed. The garden looked magical. The little trees, the hedges, the shrubs, the doorways, all sparkled with fairy lights. Throughout the maze, small red lamps glowed warmly. Ornaments, mirrors, crystals, and garlands reflected the light with tiny rainbows. The party's Christmas tree looked stately in the center of it all. The party was in full swing. People were laughing and talking together in small clusters. A few people were exchanging small gifts. Killers were still singing. A few others were accompanying them. John noticed that some of the couples were dancing near the entrance to the maze. Anna loved to dance. The first words out of her mouth whenever they had been invited to a holiday function was, "Will there be dancing?" Sometimes he felt so clumsy and awkward next to her. She was always so graceful, so light, and she could go on and on. Why did they kiss? Glenn's voice startled him out of his reverie. He turned to her, thinking he misheard. What? Why did they kiss? Glenn asked again. John looked to where she was pointing. Over by one of the benches of the Zen garden, someone had sown some artificial mistletoe. It was creating a case of silver beware. Ivana had just been caught by Michael, who gave her a friendly kiss on the mouth and a warm bear hug. A few others standing nearby were smiling, having been caught themselves. Considering Stephen Franklin's reputation, he has probably gotten the most of the girls. And he probably doesn't even know how.